I'm Jonathan Gerwitz, partner with KGB Texas Communications, and welcome to thePoint. Today we're visiting with Joe Fisher, the president and CEO of Hallmark University, a private, nonprofit, faith-based university that focuses on aeronautics, technology, business, and healthcare programs. Joe, thank you for visiting with us today.
Sure, Jonathan. Thanks for having us, and thanks for taking time out to let us talk a little bit about the university and our new site here.
Well, we're here on what will be your new campus on the west side of San Antonio. Tell us a little bit about Hallmark and the new campus.
So Hallmark, as you said, is a private nonprofit institution with a focus on employment and superior outcomes. And our role, as we see it, is to work closely with our industry and employers who've made San Antonio their home, to understand their needs and their emerging needs so that we can then develop programs that produce a workforce with superior skills, knowledge, and character.
And you're in the midst of a capital campaign. Tell us about that capital campaign and how it's going to affect your students and how it relates to the new campus.
The capital campaign is really focused on adding those elements to the environment that allow the students to really thrive. So the capital campaign is going to bring us an environment that will include a student veteran center for the first time, a student health center where they'll be able to do telemedicine and on-site visits. It'll expand our student center, our food service, and then most importantly, some outdoor learning environments that are beyond the classroom and labs. So we're looking at a student plaza, a 50 to 75 seat amphitheater, some recreational trails, really an environment that gives them a sense of belonging and comfort and security that allows them to be more successful in their journey.
Shift gears a little bit and talk about the academic environment. We know that the pandemic had a tremendous effect on enrollment, especially for minorities, minority men. What kind of trends are you seeing in enrollment?
Interestingly enough, when the pandemic hit in 2020, we were pretty blessed. So we had a technology environment that allowed us to transition very quickly over to a remote environment. And in 2020, we saw very little impact on actual enrollment. But as the pandemic continued and we saw wave after wave, 2021, we began to see it impact existing student body and their ability to persist, and also an impact on enrollment. Slightly below what is being reported on a national level of about 15% reduction. We were blessed to not have that impact, but it definitely made a difference.
Another aspect of the pandemic is the focus on student health, especially mental health. What is Hallmark doing on that front? So
we saw that. We saw it heavily hit and certainly affected minority and lower socioeconomic students at a higher level. And the mental aspect of it is something that we found pretty interesting. So we began to see the change in behavior, but we learned something out of that we didn't know, and that is, or that we didn't really grasp. And that is, when the student is struggling with that kind of an issue, it's not always something that they're going to share. So one of the things that we did, and we think a lot of institutions have had to move to, is we had to create new social network apps for our students so that they had an environment peer-to-peer in order to share those kinds of things, and then through the app give them access to resources, counseling, and partners in the community that they could turn to for help.
A recent Gallup poll found that academic institutions feel like they're doing a very good job in preparing students for the workforce, but actually a small percentage of students and employers feel the same way. So what can academic institutions and what is Hallmark doing to make sure that you are preparing students with both the hard skills and the soft skills to be successful in the workforce?
That goes directly to the heart of some of the problems with higher education particularly, is it's not aligned. So traditionally the institutions believe that they should be telling employers, here are the skill sets that you need in your employees, here are the talents that you need. And Hallmark's model from the very beginning has been to address the very problem that those polls tell us that exists. So we partner first and foremost with the industry. And we have program advisory committees for each program, and we believe they own our curriculum. So that is our primary customer, the customer that's always right. And we sit down with them, they tell us what they need, and therefore our programs are designed from the beginning to make sure that we are able to take a student and put them into a career field that's in high demand, high pay, and is going to be a rewarding and provide a return on investment for them.
You know, eventually the labor market is going to soften. We may be headed into a recession. What's the long-term prospects for students who don't get that higher education?
One of the things that I think the actual pandemic actually contributed to is this dynamic that you're talking about of let me get there quicker.
Right.
So for Hallmark, it really feeds right into our model. We are the fastest path. We have the shortest academic year of any higher education institution in the nation. And that allows us to bring a student through a bachelor's program in just 28 months. So they're out making a living for up to 2.5 years before they went into a traditional path. But I think the impact is going to be that all of education is going to have to move towards that model.
The related part of that equation is the cost of higher ed. And you know, interest rates are now rising, student debt's a big issue. What, on the affordability front, what can higher education do? What's Hallmark doing to make these programs more affordable?
From Hallmark's perspective, there's two of our 4 core values, excellence and effectiveness, that really speak to the way we address it. So first and foremost, a student that's coming through a program with us is going to be aimed at a high demand, high paying career field. Our programs are going to put a student in a situation where they receive between an 80 and 100% return on their investment first year in their program. And the second is from an efficiency standpoint, and it goes to opportunity cost. So the average student in Texas that graduates with a bachelor's degree graduates with about 144 hours, even though they only need 120, which means them, their family, the community, taxpayer has paid for almost an extra year of school. Our program, as I talked about, goes 28 months and gets you into the career field 2 to 2.5 years faster. And that effectively lowers the cost of your education. On a broader scale, I think one of the issues that is not talked about a lot and not popular to talk about in a higher ed community is that the rising availability of student funds through loans and grants. It's done because we believe it's going to provide more access to students, but it's not serving that purpose. It actually is allowing for an accelerated increase in cost.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we could do is to calm the waters there.
Right. And this campus will be open and operating when?
So we're about 6 weeks away. So we're hoping that our fall start in late August will start at this campus.
Great.
And so far everything is on schedule.
Anything else you want to share about Hallmark and what you're doing?
Just that we're excited about the opportunity not only to expand our facilities here, but the extra acreage here is going to give us the comfort and confidence that we can address the needs as they emerge in the city on a go-forward basis. And finally, I think we're really excited about the move because when we move in a few weeks, we'll be the only bachelor's, master's degree granting institution in this part of our city.
Right. Well, Joe, it's a great facility. Congratulations on your success, and thank you for what you're doing in our community. Thank you for visiting with us today, and thank you for joining us on The Point.